All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar. I've got Daniel Kroc with me today. Real quick, before we do quick introductions, I just want to let everybody know that this webinar is being recorded. We will be sending this link out to this webinar immediately after we're done here. But I just want to introduce myself real quick. My name is Fee Doan. I am the VP of Marketing here at One Day. I've been in marketing for 20 years myself, everything from developing strategy to paid search to digital market itself, lead gen, as well as working closely with sales on a daily basis. Want to introduce you really quickly to Daniel Kroc. He's going to do a little quick introduction of himself. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Hey, Daniel Kroc here. I've been in sales for 20 years also, more in digital sales, and I would say sales operations. So using various different tools and implementation, studying KPIs and things like that. So as of today, I'm an AE, actually selling the product for One Day.
Awesome. So today's conversation, we're going to be talking about is streamlining our sales process with video, right? We all get it. We all get bombarded with generic sales emails constantly on a daily basis. And at the same time, like what you notice is like nobody interacts with these emails, right? There's no engagement, there's no conversions. It's just static. And in all honesty, like today's state of sales, it's very cold, it's robotic, it's repetitive, right? You think about it, it's very generic, impersonal, and just quite honestly, outdated. Daniel, can you talk to me and tell me a little bit about how sales has evolved over the last 5 years?
Yeah, so it's an interesting question, right? So I think as of 5 years ago, we're kind of coming out of the heyday of digital marketing, right, where it was the Wild West. You pretty much, social media companies handed you all of the information for your prospect, and you kind of worked on that. So that's been with GDPR and kind of a lot of the events that have happened. That's kind of gotten restricted, and so sales is kind of altered. In the last 2 years, specifically, I think what you saw with COVID, work from home, a lot of these different events that happened really quickly at the same time that was all going on, you saw salespeople switch up tactics a little bit. And what you saw in 2021 was emails went up 70% and reply rates went down. So in my mind, that says people went full on sales automation. They weren't getting the interaction, so they're like, okay, I've got to twist the knobs to get more outreach done, right? So I think that's kind of what you're seeing. And then now, in probably the last year, I think there's slightly a shift back to more personalization. It's still very robotic. It's still pretty much outdated. I still don't think people are getting the interactions they want. But you are seeing that shift towards LinkedIn type outreaches that are more personable, more one-to-one. And it's becoming a little bit more acceptable, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, with that said, like the obvious question that everybody wants to know, you've done so much for this company. You've taken this company to the next level in terms of sales. Like, what is your sales process today?
Oh, so, okay. So step back. It's an interesting question because I use video to sell a video platform. So I have a little bit different perspective. Also, my background's been in digital sales. So it's trying to blend those. I don't think the process itself ever really changes. I think the tools you use to achieve the goals and the KPIs you track alters throughout the process.
Okay.
So specifically, we use a lot of video. I think, especially in the last 2 years, we've upped our LinkedIn game. And then with work from home, we're having less and less success with cold calls specifically. That I think we're leveraging a lot more of the video platform to actually kind of bridge that gap of cold outreach. Not using phones so much, but actually presenting using video. So
gotcha. So yeah, so let's talk about video, right? You mentioned it. It's really interesting point that you use video. We are a video company to enhance your sales. So like, talk to me about how video has changed the sales process.
Yeah, so you immediately, and there's a couple of different angles and a couple of different industries I'll talk about, but you immediately add this level of personalization to where you feel the person feels comfortable that you have never met, whereas it's hard to get that through with emails or text messaging, right? So I also think like in high stress situations like our dealership customers, where the prospect doesn't want to deal with the salesperson, they want to look at the cars, right? by doing a quick intro with a video before that gets started, I think you create a level that takes the stress off, right? Like, here's the parking lot. Here's
Right.
where you'll come in, you walk in, you'll take a left. You kind of set the stage where it's like, it puts a human element to the person right away.
Right.
And I think that's really, really important. Also with video, and I think it helps, we'll get into it later, but it helps with objection-based conversations, because video can be given in a way that can be shared, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
maybe I'm selling to somebody, and I know there's two other decision makers. Well, that video can be passed around, and we can actually kind of track on that. So
Gotcha. So we know, like, there's with sales and email itself, like, the engagement is just not there. So when you're implementing and you're adding video to the sales process, like, what kind of results are you seeing with video itself in that sales process?
So ourselves, we've A/B tested cadences with and without video, personalized and evergreen material. When I say evergreen, I mean reusable content.
Yeah.
And there's a hybrid version of that as well. But in our own results, the reply rates were 26% higher using video than not using video. But some of our leasing agents have seen 36% increase in tour rates, 36% more or 34% more leases signed.
Wow.
So there's measurable ROI on using video and actually just taking that extra step, right? And that's the other thing I didn't touch in using video in the process. It's meant to complement. It's not meant to hinder at all, right? When we use video, I always tell people, hey, you can write an email.
Right.
But using video is just as quick as writing a good email, unless you're using ChatGPT or something like that. But it's easier and it's complementing the process, right? So that's the important part. It's not hindering or changing it. It's actually complementing the process. So.
Gotcha. So you just talked a little bit about, like, the the results of some of these different use cases, right? So, like, talk to me about how you utilize video to showcase, like, products and services for potential customers or clients themselves.
Yeah, so I always use that. So Top Gun is my favorite movie of all time.
Absolutely.
But I can tell you how good it is, or you could just go watch the trailer, right? So we try using video to incorporate, a lot of people's process is to get people to the demo. Everything they do, prospecting wise, is to get people to the demo. So we actually use video in a way that marketing helps us with. We create basically a highlight reel of our video. So I'll do the intros and kind of explain who I am and why I think I solve a problem. And then I'll add in that little highlight reel of why our product's so good, right? And that gives you, and another good statistic, and I know I'm throwing a lot out, you remember and retain 95% of what you watch in short form video, as opposed to 10% of what you read in an email or a text, right? So it's making that quick intro where you're, kind of changing out what a cold call used to be, but you're actually having it retained more, and that can be shared to other people within the department that maybe needs buy-in or leverage. So sorry to ramble.
No, that's great. I love it. I'm sure everybody else is loving it too. So we are very much in a data-driven world today, right? People use data analytics across the board to make decisions. Like, talk to me about, like, how you've seen, like, the data analytics that you see from the video side to help improve the sales process, as well as, like, increase that conversion rate for yourself.
So I'll start with a story.
Okay.
So my previous role, I managed a team of SDRs, and they would make 75 phone calls to get one answer, right? We implemented a system called Gong that gave me sentiment analysis, and that data, I quickly realized that one answer probably wasn't a good answer. It was probably quit calling me, kid. It was 10x that. So 750 calls to get one positive sentiment, right? Having that data made me realize, hey, this ROI is not really good, right? Now with video, I could see, did they click it? Did they open it? Did they play it? And where did they fall off? Maybe my message wasn't resonating with these people. And that gives me the details I need to focus in on something. And another example is maybe you are in a relationship where you feel comfortable calling somebody, but they're dodging you, right? Send them a video. Hey, guess what? When they play that video, you get a notification right away. They're either by their phone, they're by their desk. And so then I can have a successful step, because all salespeople are trying to go as fast as they can. And, having that data is actually helpful. And then another huge one I use all the time, my tool it's going to need multiple buy-ins. So we actually track, have they shared it to multiple devices? Now, with Apple and all that, we know it's not always 100% accurate. But to me, if I see it's been shared to 8 different devices, well, I know, hey, they're trying to get buy-in. I need to put a little bit more time and effort into these people because I think that's the quickest return rate. So, and then, you know, it's always the good news. If I send a cold prospect and I get that notification that says they played it, I'm like, hey, you know, it feels good. I feel better. Like, they watched my content. Thank you. You know, I put in the effort and they watched it.
So, okay, so it's one thing to get engagement, right? But it's another thing to close deals, right? With video itself, or, you know, bypass the objections of whoever you're on the other side of the screen is, or on the other side of the message that you're trying to convey. Like how has video helped you like really bypass or you know, get through that obstacle of objections and increasing those you know, those deals that you're trying to close?
So there's 2 sides to this, right? So the first is just the common objections, right? Might as well have a video ready because you know they're coming.
Absolutely.
And then address those. And again, it goes back to being able to share the content versus a single call or a demo isn't usually shared, right? So I can address those common, you know, with the buyer, I can address those common objections, but he can also share them around to say, hey, this is why we're doing it. I know you're going to have the same questions. And then the other thing one of my customers does that I thought was fantastic, she has a very complicated contract system. So she knows she's never going to get to talk to the attorneys or get in front of the attorneys, but she knows these are the common red lines they normally come back with. Well, she goes through a video before she sends every contract and she addresses those red lines. So she knows the attorneys can share that around as they're walking through, like, you know, specifically her case is when she gets to explain one of these line items, they immediately go, oh, that makes sense, right? But she knows she's not going to talk to them while they're redlining. So giving that video and allowing them to share that, and then her being able to track it on the back end, she knows the deal's progressing as well. So it's one of those things where it's multifaceted, and it's, you know, getting over objections is probably the key use in video, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's jump one step back real quick. I want to talk to you a little bit more and dig a little bit more into your sales process itself. Like if somebody came in and, you know, requested a demo or wanted to have a conversation with you right off the bat, you know, you get that notification that says ding, like, hey, I would love to hear more about your product. Like, what is the very first step you do right then and there?
So if basically it's a warm outreach at that point in time. So what I'll do is I will send basically a welcome video. If it's large enough, I like to get them to visualize what I'm selling. So I'll use some of their branding, you know, kind of basically show them the actual application. I'll tell them quickly about it and what it's, you know, what's going on. But really just introducing myself and kind of putting a name to a face so that when we go to demo, they feel familiar with me. And that's an interesting story that I also like to tell. I like to tell a story about Victoria, who had a prospect on her list for 4 months. She was trying to get him to go to demo. They finally went, and he came on and he said, you know, I met you at that conference and, you know, I couldn't get to you. I couldn't get to you quick enough. Well, come to find out, she had never talked to him. He was just watching. He was just watching her videos. And he got that familiarity with her. So it's building that familiarity, kind of that, hey, I'm a person too, type situation, and kind of just putting people at ease at the beginning. So that's what at the beginning of the process, that's what I'll do. So, you know, you guys are great getting me leads. So I try to make a personalized experience in every touch that I do in those first ones.
So with that being said, so let's talk a little bit about the next step, right? So when you guys go through, you do that personalized video, and then you do that demo, like, what's next for you?
I mean, even before that.
So
usually 30 minutes before a demo, I like to send another video. Just making sure they're still aware that the meeting's on and that we're going to meet. And honestly, I outline, hey, I'm going to be respectful of your time. Here's our agenda. Right. So that I'm coming prepared and I've prepared for this. So then when we get to the demo, they know I'm not going to waste their time. I'm going to get to the point, and I've already thought about it and planned it out. And just kind of being respectful from their time. And then post demo, I'm going to send another video. I'm going to say, hey, great talking to you. And here's our action items we had in that call. I'm going to get those worked out for you. Expect an email from me or expect a contract from me here soon. You know.
Awesome. Yeah, I love it. So speaking about contract, can you talk to us about how you utilize video to close the deal once they're like saying, hey, we're ready to buy, we're ready to close this deal. Like,
Yeah.
instead of sending out another email, I know you sent out a video, right?
Yeah. So I'll kind of stole it from one of our customers, but
Okay.
I kind of review the contract. Ours is very simple. So I just kind of highlight what it is, what the terms are, how many users it is. I got it over to you, it's good, it's valid until this date. And really just kind of go quick overview. And again, I'm selling a video product, so I probably way overuse video, but I try and give those multiple touch points along the way. And that's the other thing I explained. Even after this signed, I'm not going to send you off. We have this communication outlet open, and I think it comes across via video a little bit more sincere than just sending an email. Right?
Gotcha.
So make him feel comfortable with doing business with us, right?
Yeah. So talk to me about, you talked about using one day to sell one day.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, what are your favorite features and the use cases of these features that you're utilizing in the sales process?
Yeah. So it's 100% what I mentioned earlier, the ability to drop in additional videos.
Yeah.
I also like, being able to add professionalism to something very quickly. That's as quick as, so branding on the front, branding on the back, nameplate comes in.
Okay.
And then I like to basically introduce myself, and then I'll drop in that marketing quality video as well.
Yeah.
So within seconds, I have a full solution that's marketing grade, marketing quality,
Nice.
that I can get analytics back on, right? So I can get the tracking, I can find out what they watched, I can find out if they shared it. So that's really it.
Nice. Let's talk about one more thing.
Okay.
Let's talk about sequencing of your emails, right?
Yeah.
It's 2023. Everybody uses some sort of cadence of whether they're using Marketo or Sales Loft or any of those other ESP cadences out there. How do you inject, or do you set off rules for those cadences itself, or how do you go about that?
Yeah, so it's the thing where like the gig's up on sales automation, right? Everybody knows you have it. Most of the time when I even send a personalized email, I get somebody that are you a bot, right?
Right.
But no, my standard rules are really, so I do a lot of cadence branching where I'll go from one cadence based on a response I get, I'll have another cadence.
Yeah.
And again, most of my cadences are still very personal. So they'll all be suggestions of what I should do at this point.
Yeah.
I just use it to keep more task reminders.
Okay.
But outside of that, pretty much the standards, like have they replied, remove from cadence, have they scheduled a demo, remove from cadence. And then I'll have follow-up, cadences that I'll schedule with that just to keep me on task, keep me kind of going.
Yeah. So one other question comes top of mind for me is, we continue to talk about personalization, and, you're talking about building out all these individual videos.
Yeah.
Like, how are you able to scale it out? Because we all know there's plenty of inbound that's coming through.
Yeah.
Like, talk to me about how you're able to scale it out at such an efficient rate.
Well, so there is an element of reusing video as well, right? So there are times where it is appropriate to say, instead of hey fee, I'll say, hey there, it's Daniel, right? And I can actually embed those into specific emails where it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Maybe somebody's completely cold. I know this is my last Hail Mary. I'll send a video, hey there, it's me again. I want to give you one last shot, but I send that to everybody who doesn't seem interested, hasn't clicked on my emails, hasn't watched any of my videos. So there's a kind of and I think that's what the industry and salespeople in general are finding. Like, where is that trade-off versus volumetric approach to really personalized approach? And I think we went too far volumetric with the lockdowns and everything. And I think now it's slowly getting back into this personalization. And I think video helps you achieve that, even if it's reusing content, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's still specific for whatever this thread is, right?
Yeah. Daniel, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I want to give the opportunity for the audience here today to, if there's any questions that you guys have, please insert it into the chat. We can definitely answer it and have Daniel take a look at it. Let me pull it up real quick. We're going to give everybody a quick moment to see if there's any questions. Otherwise, we appreciate everybody's time. We can definitely give you guys some additional time back. But first question that's come through, Daniel, what advice would you give somebody who's never used video in their sales process but wants to start?
Oh man, so that was me, right? I didn't have a Instagram account. I don't TikTok. I don't do anything. It's forcing yourself to use it, right? It is actually pushing yourself into that, just getting familiar. You look at some of my old videos, I save all of them, they're horrible, right? It's one of those things, and I'm still not very good at it.
Yeah.
But when I see that's the thing, as I tell everybody, is like, force yourself to do it. One of the things I say is like, don't take yourself too serious. Like, leave in the leave in the kind of, you want it to be good, but it's never going to be great. So yeah, forcing yourself to use it and then actually seeing the results. Like I said, we A/B tested. I got a 26% reply rate versus, what I normally do. So yeah, seeing the results is kind of one of the things. You got to force yourself to do it until you can see the results. And then, it's one of those things.
Great.
So.
Let's see if there's any other questions. If not, guys, thank you very much for joining us today. Please note, like, if there's any additional questions you guys have after today or at this moment, feel free to send us an email, drop us a note. We're always happy to help and answer any questions that you guys may have. We're going to give it one more minute to see if there's any other additional questions, and then we can definitely close off and send out this recording for you guys to share and view again if needed. All right. I think we're good. Well, thank you again for joining us today for this webinar. We appreciate your time, and hopefully you've got some good insights from Daniel, and we will look forward to speaking with you guys again soon. Thank you very much.
Thanks.